Peter Kennedy, National Secretary Treasurer, Canadian Auto Workers Union, working out of the Toronto office.
Great. And you're concerned with the changing face of labor. How is the workforce changing, and how is CAW adapting to that?
Well, our members are a mosaic of the community, and communities are changing all around us. The demographic that exists today obviously is not the same demographic as it was 30, 40, 50 years ago with immigration. The workplaces have changed, absolutely. And, it's interesting because we in the labor movement often get painted as dinosaurs, that we're an item of the past, and we had a proud history, but we should have been left in the past. And the fact of the matter is that the labor movement is so relevant today. It's more relevant today, I would argue, in some cases than it ever has been. But in order to, carry the message that we have to make sure that we reach out and we embrace young workers, new Canadians, the changing demographic that we see in the communities around us, to make them part of that labor movement, to make them part of this vehicle that really exists for change and to challenge the status quo. So that I think is a big challenge for the movement.
Well, it must be because, of course, young workers are often in the most precarious kind of employment, and it's really a risky thing for them to sign a union card, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we have to overcome that fear. And so often the regulations that are in place, the labor legislation in particular provinces, the choice doesn't become whether you want a union or not. The employer gets to frame it as to whether you want a job or not. And obviously that instills a lot of fear in people. And but we have to point out and sort of counteract the right-wing message that somehow this notion that good paying jobs, whether they're unionized or not, are somehow bad for the economy. I mean, this really what is money that's spent in the economy. It doesn't go to the Cayman Islands. It doesn't go to Swiss bank accounts. This is money that supports good communities, good affordable places to live in, and good places where we can have education and healthcare and all of those things that we all simply want, whether we're new Canadian, young Canadian, older Canadian, whatever the case may be.
So how do you fight that right-wing mindset?
Well, we just have to I think, readapt and perhaps reinvent ourselves. I mean, obviously there's a lot of talk about social media and it's been used effectively in a number of campaigns, and I think that's perhaps where we're slow off the mark, and we have to integrate those kind of strategies, and we just have to keep fighting the good fight, so to speak, and get our message out there any way that we can.
Can you give me an example of an organizing drive that's been successful and interesting and innovative that people should know about?
Well, I think the Obama campaign was one that was, an organizing drive that was successful, and it relied on all of those different factors and those different elements to reach out a generation.
How about a CAW drive?
Well, in terms of traditional organizing, it's a difficult question to answer right off the top. Obviously we have a lot of organizing campaigns underway. We're developing websites specific to organizing campaigns to different workplaces, and we have one now for Honda workers, hopefully to bring them into our union. So it's those kinds of things that I think we need to sort of re-examine and take the bold step, if you will, to look at things differently than we have perhaps in the past.
Do you see signs of hope, things that give you hope that you can accomplish these goals?
Yeah, I think just despite the fact that I'm tremendously saddened by the results of the last federal election, the fact that there are more women elected, there's more young people elected, there's about 100 newcomers in Parliament, those things give me hope, because that is, in some ways, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a rejection of what has happened in the past, but it's certainly reflective of change. And when change is happening, then I think we can take advantage of that change. You can let change affect you and impact on you, or you can use change to shape the movement and our organization, what we're going to become for the future.
Terrific. Any final thoughts?
No, just thank you for being here. Appreciate the opportunity to do this.